Hi guys, welcome back. Let's wrap up the Android baking app by introducing Exoplayer. Since we have the URL of the baking tutorial, we could just basically play that URL link via Exoplayer. So let's get to understand what Exoplayer stands for. Looking at the documentation from the Android developer.com, Exoplayer is an open source project that is not part of the Android framework and is distributed separately from the Android SDK. Exoplayer standard audio and video components are built on Android's Media Codec API, which was released in Android 4.1, that's the API level 16. Because Exoplayer is a library, you can easily take advantage of new features as they become available by updating your app. So it could play dash, smooth streaming, common encryption, MP4, and you could actually support the media player. It is designed to be easy to customize and extend. So we're going to be integrating Exoplayer into our application. Let's get to see the flow. Over here, we actually stopped in the recipe detail activity. If you're hitting this video for the first time, I will implore you to check the two steps, the two videos that actually brought us down to this concluded part, so that you understand where the flow is. Just look at the channel and check the link below. Let's move further. In build Gradle, a peek back to build Gradle. Let's get to see some flow here. Cool. We're fine. If you notice, we have the Exoplayer right here included as an implementation to use. So we've actually included that in the dependency. So don't forget that. Back to the recipe detail activity. On click of an item of the step, if it's two pane, it takes you down to the recipe step fragment. If it is a portrait, that's a phone screen, it takes you down to the recipe step activity. So we'll get to look at the activity first, because the same activity inflates the fragment. So let's get to look at that right there in the recipe step activity. Very simple and basic. This calls extends the app compact as usual, and it sets the layout to recipe step. What's gonna do in the step, we have a frame layout. Cool. That's we're gonna attach the fragment to. Now if the save instance state is not equals to null, it's going to get a bundle, put pass label based on the extras you're expecting, and pass that to the fragment, which will be accompanied to the fiber setting arguments of the whole bunch of objects. So we're actually inflating a fragment from the activity, calling the item detail container of the frame layout. The all juicy stuff lies in the fragment. This same fragment is being called when you're using the two pane. So on click, the frame layout by the big side changes, and it's going to take effect. I'll be showing you the tablet view after this video, probably in the screencast. This extends fragments, as you all know. Now we're going to be talking basically about Exoplayer here, where we have the bandwidth meter, the simple Exoplayer objects, the simple Exoplayer view, the component listener, the playback position, some text views because we will be passing the instructions alongside the video URL, and it's the description, as you could see. A constructor of the recipe step fragment, the onCreate method still flow. onCreate view, when you're talking about fragments, you need to inflate the recipe step fragment. Let's get a peep on that. The layout files, recipe step fragment over there. That's where you need to include the simple Exoplayer tag, which you could see right there over here. This is very important. Without this, you won't be able to visualize Exoplayer. So you have it as a basic view with a magic top 10 dp width and height, match parent respectively with the wrap content with the layer height. So you have that set up. After that, you will also need a video view of the Exoplayer, where you could have the playback control view just to control the playbacks, the fast forward, the pause, the stop. So you could customize that as you feel like. So it depends on the way you feel the flow should go. That's just the basic way I just tried to get that done. I included the media button from Exoplayer, and also the fast forward. Just play and fast forward could be cool. So you could have the backward, the pause, the play and stop, fast forward. As you feel like you could customize this based on your preference. So that's just that. Cool. Let's get to look at how we're going to initialize the Exoplayer itself and get that rolling. We're expecting an extra, which is the boundary extra. We'll talk about boundary when you're looking at fragments, talk about intent extras when you're looking at activities. So we're getting the parse label extra of steps. We'll pass that to step description, and from there we have the instruction to set the text to the description. This is a view, a text view, and now you have the description from the parse label. You have the component player as well, the player view. You initialize that, the simple Exoplayer view. So you've triggered that. Now you're going to initialize the player during this process. But for a proper activity response or life cycle activity handling, you need to handle these correctly. They on start, they on resume, they on pause, and they on stop. That's the basic life cycle where you get to check from some stuff. On resume, you check if the SDK is less than 23 or the player is not null. You initialize the player. On pause, you release the player so that other applications that is actually calling the Exoplayer could use it. So you don't try to freeze that up. And if on stop too, you release the player. So it depends on what you want to do. The different life cycle scenario. Initialize player itself that is being called everywhere. What it's going to do? Test the player if it's not null. This is where you get to build up the Exoplayer engine. You get the track selection, check the bandwidth meter, Exoplayer factory. These are like the boilerplates, which you could reuse over and over again. You set the player over here to the player view, as you can see, and you get the arguments. Now we need to get the video URL itself when you initialize the player. So you over here. So you could as well get that over here and send it as a global variable. So that's it depends on how you feel it's gonna good for you. Now test if the video URL is empty. Sometimes the API won't provide a video URL, so it's a good user experience when the user sees that there's no link here, so they easily go back without expecting something instead of it just gets freezed up on a black screen. So they could get that quickly. Else, what's going to do? It calls on the media source, extracts the media source, and you need to parse the video URL and instantiate the default data source factory where you get to parse the intent, the context, and the user agent. So after that, you prepare the player and you play. When ready, you set that boolean to true. When you're releasing the player, you get the current position, you get the current window index, and the play when ready. You remove the listener. You also set the video listener to null, the video debug listener to null, the audio debug listener to null, and you release the player for other calling application. With all that functionality, you could also have the component listener. Depends on further implementation or further handling of your audio playbacks and video playbacks as well, because you have the audio renderer event listener with the video renderer event listener. So both audio and video, you could track that. Now on play state changed, when the state is idle, when the state is buffering, when the state is ready and ended. So you could handle different calls at that point in time. Probably tell the user that it's buffering presently. You've entered the video, or there's an idle state, or when it's an idle state, what it's going to do, just release the player. You could do a lot of implementation here for what you feel like. Now you have to vary a bunch of methods on player error, on position discontinuity. The parameters change when the video is enabled, when the video decoder is initialized. So a lot of things you could do for that. You could customize it to your flow. So I just need the basic player, just play the instructions, play the baking instruction, let the viewer see the steps to go when they're trying to make a particular recipe or dessert. So that ends the baking app. With this now you have it fully structured. I hope I've been able to complete these for those that actually ask for it, that they need how to consume the baking app and how to develop an app to fit into the JSON. And now you could see that you could have it in portrait, and you could have it in large screen as well. So this will serve as a building block for you to develop complex application that could fit on different Android screen sizes. So that's a very good lesson here. I'll be stopping here, and will also be imploring you to leave a comment and share the video, like, and please subscribe to this channel. Share to your friends, share to your family, share to those that really need this to help their Android development skills. Thank you guys for hanging out with me throughout the session. I'll catch you up in the next video. Bye bye for now.